of the city. And I'm going to make a quick video to a gentleman by the name of Wayne Philmore, who addressed a video that Bionic Dance did about his previous video regarding atheism. Now, Bionic Dance asked a specific set of questions and set some very specific guidelines as to engaging in a debate with an atheist about the existence of the Creator. And, the guy promised that if someone made a response to him, he'd make a response back. He made a video called The Final Thoughts on Atheism. The link will be down below on the crotch bar. And let's see if we can answer some of his questions.
My name is Wayne Philmore.
Hi, Wayne.
I am your host.
Good to see you.
In response to an atheist young lady who responded to my video, I said that if anybody responds to that video, as soon as I get back to them, I'll make my own response. So here's my response. So before I go and I get into the meat of this video, I just want to ask you guys a few questions. If I prove to your satisfaction, to the T, that Jesus Christ is 100% the Son of God, would you believe?
Okay. In answer to your first question, number one, you would have to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that Jesus of Nazareth, number one, existed. Number two, is the Son of God, as the writers of the Gospels proclaim. And that would require something other than your book. You see, the problem here is that a lot of times when you're talking about trying to prove that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, you only rely on one specific source of information. Not necessarily the best way to go about things, especially if you're trying to educate folks who have some very specific set of criteria. You have to go a little above and beyond what most evangelical Christians do, which is scream, shout, holler, insult, and call names. Moving right along.
And not only would you believe, but would you bow down on your face and worship?
Okay, I don't understand what your occupation is with making people bow down to your imaginary friend, but let's once again see that I can help you with something. Number one, you have to prove it. You have to prove it with something that goes beyond, above and beyond, your words. You have to give us concrete evidence. You have to show us something physical and tangible that we can examine. A book that was written about 2,000 years ago doesn't necessarily cut it. You have to go a little bit beyond that. What about the Romans? Did they keep any records of this guy named Jesus? Well, there was something in the book of in the writings of Josephus. There was something in another book altogether. But so far, the Romans really didn't pay much attention to Jesus of Nazareth. Matter of fact, they kind of ignored him until Nero came along and decided to use them as a scapegoat for a lot of the problems that he was causing. Moving right along. Okay, in answer to that, the second part of that question, would you worship him? That would depend on whether or not he's a major douchebag. And given what the writings say about him, I don't necessarily know that he would be very comfortable with people, bowing down at his face. He'd be more likely to pick that person up dust them off and tell them to start doing what's right, not necessarily demanding that they worship him. Moving right along.
If the God of the Bible was real, would you do what he says?
If the God in the Bible was real, would I do what he says? It depends on what he's telling me to do. If he's telling me to go around and kill infidels like he's told a lot of his followers to do, the answer to that would be no, unless it was in self-defense or I was protecting myself. If he told me to kill my child, who I worked really hard to bring into this world and to make sure that he was a safe and who I cared about as much as life itself, the answer to that would not just be no, it would be hell no. Why? Because that's my kid. Don't care. Um, you know, say whatever you want. Don't care. If you're going to punish me, fine. But, you're not going to have me kill my kid. Too bad. Deal with it. As far as things like doing unto others as you would have them do unto you, looking after those who are hungry, visiting those who are sick and in prison, I would try to work on those, mainly because they are good things to do. But it all depends on what your God would say for me to do. Uh, Again, it's a matter of whether or not you would just blindly follow him or you would use your reason and intelligence and figure out which of what he tells you is stupid to do. Moving right along.
Will you modify your life to the lifestyle that God wants you to live?
Again, it all depends on what he tells me to do. If he tells me to go around and start, killing people or harassing them or bombing clinics, the answer to that would be no. If he tells me to go around and deny my fellow Americans the right to practice their religion as they see fit, the answer to that would be no. And these were things that Yahweh, your deity, told his followers to do in the Old Testament and also in the New. Moving right along.
I know in the video that this young lady responded to me by, she said that if Yahweh God or if Jesus Christ is God, then she wouldn't worship him and she wouldn't do anything that he said because in her eyes God is immoral. Are you a good person?
Okay. Again, if he was telling you to do something immoral, and if he was, if you're talking about the character that is in the Old Testament, Bionic Dance basically made a point of saying that the God in the Old Testament, the God of the Bible, is a jerk. Would you follow a jerk? Would you follow an abusive person? A person that tells you that if you don't love them, they will kill you. Is that a person that who you would want to be a part of your life? If this person tells you to go around killing innocent men, women, and children, would you want that person to be a part of your life? Think about it for a minute. If you're dating this girl and she's telling you that if you ever leave her, she will stalk you and kill you, and I know you've had girlfriends like that, tell the truth and shame the devil. Would you want that girl to be a part of your life? The answer to that is no. So why would anybody want to follow the Yahweh that is pictured in the Bible, given that he's made some rather frightening statements about people who leave him? That he will kill them. Think about that for a minute and apply your common sense, okay? Moving right along. Let's continue.
If so, if you are a good person, what is your standard of a good person?
The standard of a good person is a concept called empathy. I don't rape, I don't steal, I don't kill, because I have empathy for my fellow human beings. Okay? I also understand that if I do those things, there are consequences to those actions, and it'll come back to bite me on the ass. Okay? And I just about ran out of time. I'm going to continue with a part 2, so keep your eye out. This is Dumac the Artist signing off. Slanchini Falcha. Have a nice day.